questions? Anything anybody would like to ask? So we are open for
Ye-
questions.
Yes, Prabhuji. This is Janvi.
Yeah, please go ahead. You can open your video so that all of us can see you who is asking the
Sure.
question. I request anybody who is asking the question can please open their video on. Yeah, please go ahead.
When actually soul enter into the body?
So when does soul enter into the body?
Yes.
So very interesting question. When does soul enters into the body? It is said that it is soul only which starts the process of growth of body in the womb itself. So the soul enters as soon as procreation is done. As soon as male and female unite, that point of time itself, soul enters into the body.
So for that, if that's the case, then for the test tube babies, when that happens?
So whenever sperm and ovum are united, that point of time, soul comes. The soul
Like
needs.
outside the womb, you mean?
Yeah, because you see test tube babies, if you say test tube, what is test tube? Let us redefine test tube. Test tube is nothing but an artificial womb.
Yes.
Let me redefine it. Test tube
So
is an
there is
artificial womb.
so there is a soul, you mean,
Yes.
at
Unless
that point.
soul comes,
Outside.
the body will not grow. There is no reaction happens between both of them, sperm and ovum.
Interesting.
Unless both of them comes together, or unless soul comes, there is no growth which start taking place. So if you see, there are many living entity which just takes birth, like different mosquitoes, right? Because they just need a favorable atmosphere or that body to enters. Whenever a soul finds a proper body to enter, they can enter even without sperm and ovum. We have many of them like this. So different ways the situation is being created for a soul to take a suitable body. Because of that, the soul start initiating the process of growth of the body.
So that, can I ask you one more question, Prabhuji?
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
So they say soul is connected to mother, so mother and father's soul connect to baby's soul, right? So when test tube babies is getting like outside womb, they're getting developed initial stage. If the soul is entered at that point, that means that particular soul is also connected to that particular mom and dad soul.
Yeah, you are asking more of the question of karma, that how that soul is connected karmically to the living entities, mother
Yes.
and father. Yes,
Yes.
anywhere in any situation, if that body or that person is to be raised by certain parents, yes, there is thick karma which is connected between both of them.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Anybody else have any other doubts?
Yeah. Namaskar, Prabhuji. I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So you said that my name is Ankita, and you said like depending on our thoughts and depending upon at the time of the death, we choose our next life. So can you elaborate more on that? Like, how does that happen, and what type of thought should we be having, or what type of life we should be living for us to have a next birth, like which is like which is good.
Okay, so your question is, how do we decide, how do we make sure that we get to the right kind of body next lifetime, right?
Right.
That's your question. So now here is, it is said that there's a verse which comes in Bhagavad Gita. There's a more deeper understanding, and I just try to touch upon that. May not be everybody is able to understand that point. It is said in 8th chapter, I think 8th chapter, initial 5-6 verses, it says, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajantyante kalevaram tam tam eveti kaunteya sadatat bhava bhavitaha. This verse says, whatever state will leave this body, that kind of body will achieve next point of time, next lifetime. So whatever kind of thoughts we have when we are leaving this body, similar kind of thought process will continue in the next body. I'll be able to get next kind of bodies. So now the question is it under my control? what kind of thoughts I would be having at the while leaving this body. Actually, no. We cannot have any control what kind of thinking I would be having while I'm leaving this body. First reason is I will be too much in pain. For an example, this is my mobile phone and I've been using it for last 2 years now. If suddenly I lose this mobile phone, how much pain do I feel? I feel pain, right? Because a lot of my contacts, my work has gone. It just disappeared. Similarly, if 2 years of thing can give me that much of pain when I lose that, this body itself, I have been with this body from beginning to end. This is the body I have to give up now. Don't you think we'll be too much in pain of losing this body that point of time? So
Yes.
in that much of pain, can our mind work properly? Okay, I should have this kind of thinking now. Would my intellect work like this? No. So my thinking would be the sum total of all things what I have done in my entire lifetime. So whatever activity I have been doing it, whole of my lifetime, that will be the most influential factor which is going to influence your thinking and going to decide what next life you will have. So it is not only about, some people think, okay, let us become spiritual when we are leaving this body or last time of our body. No, it's about the training, it's about habit, it's about culturing of a consciousness which has to be done during an entire lifetime. That is first part of your answer. Second part is what kind of activity we should perform. First thing is, as we discussed, that we should be performing activity of a human being. So as a human being, we are expected to behave and expected to have the regular development of our spiritual consciousness. When we are performing spiritual activities, when we are performing all those spiritual processes and we are in the journey of elevating our consciousness, then we are in a gradual evolution. So that more we'll discuss in the karma topic, and more there are 3-4 more topics which will have to be understood before we actually come to the conclusion that what all different kind of activity. But the most important thing is we should be fulfilling the purpose of human form of life, which is to understand that we are a spirit soul, we are not this body, and to develop myself spiritually. I hope that clarifies your doubt.
Yes, that definitely does. And my second question was, which you already answered, that we would be covering that in karma topic, because my question was what activities we should be doing in this lifetime at the early on to have those kind of thoughts at the time of death.
Yeah. We will be covering karma topic.
Okay, thank you.
I think I have some questions here in the chat section. Let me see that. The first question I have from Jay: does the soul chooses its parents by choice, or it is being directed by some power? It is being directed by power, certainly, and it is being influenced by our karma. Because we cannot choose. Because there are some, if you see, there are certain things which you can choose, there are certain things which we cannot choose. I can choose which color jacket I want to wear today, but I cannot choose what should be the color of my eyes, or what should be my complexion like. So there are certain things which I can choose, there are certain things which I cannot choose. So the parents whom we have not chosen. If that is the case, nobody would choose poor parents, nobody would choose harsh parents, nobody would choose parents who are like very demonic, and as soon as the baby is born, they just abort and just kill. Nobody would choose them. Why would I choose some parents who are going to kill me as soon as I'm born? So no, the answer is no. We don't choose our parents, it's decided by our karma. So the second question is I have. Yeah, I'll be sharing. Yes, I have a question here. Does soul have a choice of choosing the body? That's what I said. We cannot choose the body. As we cannot choose our parents, we cannot choose our body. Yes, someone is orchestrating this soul, which kind of body? Karma. Karma is the one who's the one controlling, and nature is the one who executes. So my karma is a currency, and the administration who execute and who gives me the due of my karma is the nature. That we'll be discussing more in karma topic. Anybody else have any other doubts? I think I've been.
Jai Shri Krishna Prabhuji, this is Yomal.
Yomal.
I have two questions. What is your opinion on AI, artificial intelligence?
Yeah. Your second question?
So the second question is, when a person leaves the body, sometimes they become, let's say, a ghost, right? Is a ghost a soul itself, or does a ghost have a soul?
Yeah, so for the second question, I would ask you to wait for some time because we have a specific topic where we discuss ghost and hell and ghost. So that would be more discussed in that particular topic. Because for that, we need to have the understanding of mind, subtle body, all these kind of things. So we lack those basic understanding before we start discussing about the soul. So if you talk about AI, artificial intelligence, so what AI is trying to do is, it's trying to replicate my structure. It's trying to replicate the need of human being, right?
Right.
So that I am not required because I have to pay money, right? Why don't you automate everything? If you automate everything, people are not required. It's more efficient, and computer can think much more faster than the human being. All these kind of things, and
Right.
all these different phenomena which is humanly not possible, AI can do at a less cost, and sometimes human resource is not available, so we can have as many as project as we want.
No, right. I understand. So now AI is going towards like they can have independent thoughts and feelings. Now, does that constitute a soul?
Yeah. So if you see, they can have their independent thinking, but that thinking, that software, who is the one designing it? Me as a person. It is me who has designed the particular software on whose basis it will be developing all the information, and it will be having its own independent thinking. In that sense, it does not have its own independent thinking. It is me as a person who have designed the software in such a way that it can build up its own information. It can process, it can learn new things, and all these kind of things. So it is not having its own independent thinking. It is being programmed by somebody else, and it is me as a person who is designing it. First thing. Second thing is, it does not have feelings. It can convey the feeling. It can detect the feeling. It can, by voice tone, by certain kind of words, they can catch, okay, this person is feeling like that. But actually, they don't experience the emotions. They will not cry. So let's say if I am going through sad emotions, automatically tear comes, right? Automatically water comes. Do you expect that whenever if I'm speaking something very sad and the robot is hearing, some water will start dripping out from the eyes of a robot?
No.
You see? So if you see, if somebody comes and speak very harshly to me, I feel very angry. I have that force of, I just have to teach him something. That emotions of being angry. If somebody come and teases me, do you think we'll have same emotions against the robot would have same emotions if I just go and abuse the robot?
No, definitely not.
Feelings are not there. They're able to replicate the feelings, means only the outer expression of it, not the content of it.
Okay.
Able to understand? So
yes,
that's how we have to understand. We should not be in the trap, the Western trap, that the robot can have soul. The robot at no point of time can have soul. The second understanding is what we just discussed. No two robots can come together and can produce one more robot.
Sure, okay.
It's not going to happen like this. So that's how we understand that human being, creativity, judgmental at different times based upon my values. I have one kind of values, I would react differently. Somebody would have different kind of values, he would react differently. There is no value system which is being given to those AIs. There is no value which exists for them. They're designed, they're being made biased based upon who is making it. If an American is making it, it will be more biased toward American companies and American product and everything.
Okay.
Natural biasness comes from who is giving the biasness. But me as a person have individual judgmental power, can choose or can have different kinds of reactions in different situations.
Okay.
I hope that clarifies.
Okay.
question.
Oh, definitely. Thank you very much for the nice explanation. Thank you.
So I think Janvij is asking for a question, for a book. So we'll be sharing the content from chapter 2.13 to 2.30. So that is a main source of understanding about the spirit soul. So I would recommend everybody to please read these 17 verses. By reading these 17 verses, we can have all our doubts cleared. We'll be sharing a document, PDF on the maybe tomorrow on the WhatsApp group. I would request Janviji to please go through these 17 verses and have all the doubt clarified from there. So anybody else have any other doubts, any other questions, any other comments?
One more question, probably not related to this one, but a lot of evolved soul or the spiritual master, they say that you have to be like, in good situation also you have to sad,
Yes.
you just remain the same. So how do you attain that consciousness, or how do you get to that level where you don't feel joy or where you don't feel sadness or pain?
Yeah. So basically, your answer is very, very important. And we have to understand one thing, those description, what every master teaches about the evolution of soul comes from second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And those verses are known as Sthita Prajna Shlokas, very famous shlokas from Bhagavad Gita, starting from 57 and I think till 72. There are 15-16 verses which talks about what happens once we can attain our position as a spirit soul. So it is said that we can attain the position of being unaffected by this material world only when we are grounded in our own reality. I'll give you an example. So for an example, we have two trees. One tree is very deeply rooted to the earth, very firmly grounded, very deeply rooted. Another tree is not too deeply rooted, is like very loosely rooted and everything. Any small wind comes, what do you think? Which tree will be toppled off?
The loosely rooted.
Yes. Why? Because it's not connected to its root. Similarly, when we are connected to ourselves, when we are connected to our own deepest spiritual identity, it's like a tree is connected to the roots. So when we are connected to the roots, no matter what difficulty comes, what challenges comes, what happens here outside, you remain completely unwavered. You remain completely unimpacted. So for that, again, is a process which we'll be teaching going further. How we can perform meditation, how we can perform sadhana, how we can perform those spiritual practices by which we can start developing the lost connection with ourselves. So the process which takes time, because it takes time by first taking out all the energy from everybody else, from wherever we have dispersed, and again connecting it back. So we just had a recent discussion on healing power of meditation. It talks about that, so I'll be sharing that particular video with you. It will give you more clarification on that.
Perfect.
A more detailed version of that. You can just ping me on WhatsApp. I'll be sending you separately.
Okay, so is that another group where I have to join? I mean, I'm ready to join.
Oh no,
is a
YouTube class which I gave last month on some forum, which talks about the healing power of meditation. So I can share that with you. It describes more in the whole process, how it goes from A to Z, that you can go through. It will help you with more clarification. And as we go forward in these classes itself, we'll be teaching you certain techniques by which we'll be able to understand our reality, our existence.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
I have one question, if I can go next.
Please go ahead.
Okay. The question is about reincarnation, right? So why certain people will remember their past life? Okay. Because anything to remember will require the memory, the storage, where basically a person can retrieve, okay, what really happened. Soul does not have such properties. Soul does not have anything which it can store what really happened. It's just energy, it's just a force, okay? So how does some people remember about their past life?
Yeah. So let us first understand, why don't we remember everything? then we'll come to the question, how do we remember everything, or how do we remember and how do we not? Let us first understand why don't we remember everything, or why some people do, some people don't. For an example, if I come to know the person whom I am married to, in this, I'm not married, I'm just giving a hypothetical example. The person whom I am married to was my mother in my last life. Can I still have that kind of relationship with that woman? She was my mother last lifetime and she has become my wife now by some karma. I cannot live. It will be like bipolar personality. I cannot actually understand what's going on. How should I behave? Should I behave like a husband? Should I behave like a son? And if you see one lifetime, you see previous lifetimes, maybe I was dog in some lifetime, I was some crazy person in some lifetime. If I remember all those lifetimes, I cannot live this lifetime itself. It becomes so much of heavy burden on my head.
Absolutely agree. So by that definition, no one should remember their past life. I think my question is basically, I totally understand this philosophy, why people should not remember their past life. I fully support that. My question is basically why certain people do remember. What's so special
that,
about?
Yes.
Is it more of a miss, more of a like bug, or more of a like special karma, how they remember something in their life?
Yeah. So what happens is, for us to understand that, we'll go through a chapter known as Sankhya Yoga. In Sankhya Yoga, we will understand that we have two types of bodies. We have a gross body, which is made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether. We also have the subtle body, which is made up of mind, intelligence, and false ego. So it is the mind which stores all this information. It is mind which has the memory into it. And not only of one lifetime, we have memory of unlimited lifetimes. That is all buried into the mind. We have this unconscious, subconscious, and conscious mind, right? Conscious mind is only a tip of iceberg. What lies deep into it is subconscious, by which our habits are driven. We have some impulsive reactions or some automation process, like a robot, that is governed by subconscious mind. And things which is completely freezed in the moments, there is a part of unconscious mind, wherein we have all those memories buried into it. That is the one thing. So second part of your answer is, why some people remember, some people don't remember. See, if some people do remember, they remember for a specific reason. Either they have to learn very specific lesson out of it, and they should not be committing that mistake again, so that they can advance spiritually. That is given, for example, Bharat Maharaj. If you study the story of Bharat Maharaj, on whose name this entire earth was being named as Bharat, he was very highly advanced personality. And because of some attachment to a deer, I think we discussed last time, he became a deer next lifetime. And when he became a deer next lifetime, although he was very highly spiritually evolved, because of some attachment, he could still remember what mistake did he do and why did he fell down again to deer's life. He remembered as a deer and he went back to same ashram, he stayed there till he died and again became Jada Bharata. So in some specific cases, like those highly spiritually elevated souls, they can remember. First reason. Second reason is they have very bad karma, that they have to go through that pain of remembering what they did last lifetime. Because of intense bad karma, they have to experience that. And because they have to experience that, unless they experience that, they cannot learn the lesson. Because of certain reason, it is being given to them. Second reason. Third reason is, certain times we have certain fears, certain anxiety, certain kind of irrational belief system, unknown fears, that can be discovered when we understand something about past lifetime. So in some therapy process, they use hypnosis and they use the past life regression, so that they can understand this particular behavior is coming from which part of your personality. So when we understand that part of my personality better, it becomes easier for me to deal with current situation. So sometimes it's being used for therapy purposes, so that I can clear off that particular irrational belief system from myself. Sometimes it's extreme bad karma, sometimes it's extremely good karma. So it varies person to person.
Got it. I think good. I think looks like mostly driven by some karmic factor, like in the past, and also the new karma that you need to do in the current life.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any other doubts? Is it because different soul are at different stages of? Yes, they are at.
A very quick from me, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Can we say or call life is soul or soul is life? Jivan
Yeah,
Atma hai,
life,
Atma Jivan.
the life exists because of soul. The life is there only because soul exists. If there is no life, there is no soul. The living symptom is because of presence of soul. I can think, I can feel, I can act certain way. There's living symptom. I can grow, I can decay. All those are living symptoms, right? It's because of presence of soul.
In that case, the birth date or the time and the death time is already, something proposed one. It's not something happened just like that for anyone.
It doesn't
Not like
happen
that?
on its own. Yeah, it has a certain, I would say, certain programming of the universe which takes care of all of that.
Correct. So in that case, the life comes into existence, that equal to soul comes into the existence. Particular.
No, not like this. The soul always exists. The life is manifested and unmanifested. Sometimes soul is in unmanifested state. That we'll be discussing in more further topics. The soul always exists, but living symptoms are being, like say tree. Tree does not show any living symptom for that matter. Very, very feeble living symptoms. But soul is there. So it's so life is not, soul is not dependent on the living symptom. But living symptoms are dependent on the soul.
Both are two different things in that case.
No, not two different things. Like symptom is fire. You can say whenever there is heat and light, there is a fire. But when there is no heat and light, there may be fire, but it is covered fire. The wood have fire in itself, but it is not manifesting. The moment some situation comes, it can burn itself. So the life exists, but in a dormant state. It sprout, or we can feel the life under certain conditions. That's what I'm saying.
Got you.
So tree also goes through all these stages because tree gives fruits, tree grows, and tree just dies.
A question on the trees one basically. Like tree also basically demonstrate the same thing: birth, the growth, the maintenance.
Yeah.
It also has the feeling, like when somebody basically try to cut, it feels the pains. It sends the signal. So by that definition, trees should also have soul. That's a living being, right?
I'm really sorry I'm not able to hear you. Just yeah, please. I was not able to hear because of the AC sound. Please.
I was saying basically trees also demonstrate the 6 stages we talked about, which the human goes through.
Yeah.
Birth, growth, maintenance,
yes,
and then death. Those kind of trees also. The tree should also have soul.
Yeah, tree goes through all these conditions.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because the fruits it gives like a byproduct.
Yeah.
Its small sapling grows, and it just decays. It may be very slow. It lives for more lifetime, so that we are not able to see in that small window frame how they are doing it. Some living entity do it very fast, some very slow. It depends their kind of body they have.
Got it. The same goes with any vegetable plants that we grow.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Anybody else have any other doubts? So birthday is when the soul have an independent existence in that body. And the soul have independent existence when that body is been disconnected from a mother's body. By an umbilical cord, the baby is connected to the mother. So when the baby takes independent breath, first independent breath in this lifetime, that's why birthday is called as. I hope that clarifies your doubt, Vijay Kataji.
Yes.
So I think we are good to go from here. So we'll conclude here. Thank you very much for joining us. And bacteria also have soul, yes. Any living symptom Bacteria also have soul.
Guruji,
Anybody have any other doubts? They can stay back, and for the session we are concluding here.
Okay.
Thank
I'll
you.
stay.
I just don't want to keep everybody here. So that anybody who have the questions, they can stay back, or for the everybody will conclude here.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share.